Hello, everyone, and welcome to Countless Heroes, that crazy 16-player West Marches-style campaign where I, Logan, take on 6 of my players at a time. Hello, Blake.
Hello, Logan.
Hello.
And hello to our wonderful audience. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate you. We got a lot of people here.
Hello, party people.
Hello, party people. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate that. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys did yesterday, and then we're going to talk about a lot of time, 4 to 6 weeks worth of time. We're going to go over some of the notes I've been given by some other players. We're going to talk about what you guys are doing, and we're going to see how long we think it's going to take to get all this together. So somebody want to recap yesterday for me, please? Most of you were there. Don't all volunteer at once.
Okay, sure.
So
we did some morning activities. I was working, and Saldana did some wedding plans, and Oshin spent some time with pinball, and Lark spent the time.
A robot.
I did. Oh, did I? Did I just now, or did yesterday?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Great, right
So
now.
after the morning activities, we hung out at the beer forge with Sparks, which was quite fun. I like Sparks. He seems interesting. And we decided to go check out the Subrosarium. So we did that. We went over to go there, and we met Haley as we were doing that. And Haley had us come say goodbye to Mari's shop with her. No, that's what she was doing. And then we went to the woods with her to meet Fennec. And Fennec wasn't there. But we did meet a whole bunch of money. And
a couple cradles.
Oh yeah, they're cool. They rock on their own. They're like a band.
I've never met the physical embodiment of money. Are they nice?
Oh yeah, they give you presents. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Yes, you did in the previous game.
So then we went over to the guild hall to figure out whether or not we had a new liaison and whether or not we could go through the portal, and it turned out we couldn't go through the portal. It was there was like a door, and I couldn't touch it. It was annoying. But then we met Bula, who apparently destroys code. That's a joke for just us. And Bula is a snow leopard tabaxi who is a little gruff. I'm not a huge fan yet, but we'll see. But he carries this big blue crystal hammer. He seems very badass. But he's taken over most of Afra's position, so he's now on the council, and he's doing the work of the Divine Foundry. Did I get that right? Yes, good stuff. And he's now the liaison between us and the Subrosarium. And then we fell asleep for 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And Bull and Oshin had their big wedding, and Rydell and Stokes also had their wedding.
And we're assuming, although I have not got confirmation, that somewhere in there, Mari and Nathan will be having their big wedding. But I guess we'll probably hear about that next week. Hopefully, right before we get going with all this. or it'll be a downtime. And any of these events might be in downtimes for anybody that wants to write one. It'd absolutely be great to hear more about some of these weddings and things. When GB said, or when Andy, well, he's kind of both, said that Bula was taking over all of Afro's positions, did anyone else become 12 and go except one? Just me? All right.
Just you.
Except
for
for
now.
two. There were
Two?
two things. Yes.
Which one am I missing?
For now.
The one where he offers us aid.
Right, that's one. What was the other?
Callie.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. It was all right. I just want to make sure
For now.
it wasn't just me. So yeah.
But his
I don't
door
think
is
Bula's-
open.
I like them for now, but I don't think that is. I don't know that
I mean-
Callie's interested.
I mean, Afra seemed like she was kind of not into Callie, but then you guys, ended up making it.
I think
the
everyone's
thing.
into Callie on some deep emotional level.
Mm-mm.
She's alright.
I mean, that's certainly how she operates in her existence.
Ow!
Everyone's attracted to me. Some of them just don't know it yet.
Sounds about right.
That is not at all true, but I appreciate this confidence boost.
I think GB gets passed, to be fair. Being that they're a pupper. So.
He's married to his work.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going steady, but I'm not sure I'm ready for
It's
that.
it's
commitment.
clearly not exclusive since you and Finkel. Never mind. My analogy, my metaphor is falling apart,
Huh?
becoming inappropriate.
I mean, he has been in my dreams a lot, but That'll be funny later, guys.
Oh,
That-
oh,
those
only
are-
on a
that'll be
professional
funny in a few
basis.
minutes.
Yeah, that would be really funny later.
That was called
Get out
foreshadow.
of My dreams and into my school. of
Blunt
magic.
foreshadowing, but foreshadowing nonetheless. Alrighty.
The only kind I do.
So, yeah, that's with you right there. So let's talk about some of the things that have gone on in the city over the 4 to 6 weeks that will be skipped. The council has solidified itself as a solid representation of the city. People are overly happy with the city. The city watch has taken over full duties in the city. They've now consider themselves fully established. The rule of law is being set fairly well. The adventuring guild's connection to the city is an extremely happy one. The city has had to put some limits on the marketing for recruiting and for propaganda of the guilds themselves, because the Birchfield and the Steel Syndicate started a little bit of a war for a week or so, where they were just constantly trying to outdo each other with their different marketing and things. And while it was great for the advertising edge of the city and printing and GB, the skywriting job,
I made
to the
a lot
point
of
where
money.
you were probably being paid enough to go out and buy scrolls to be doing even more. It filled the sky with a lot of strange writings and things that kind of got mixed up, and
My,
it became very difficult to parse.
my favorite part of that was when I got them to pay me to cross out the other person's advertising. That was
Yes,
I was getting double payment. It was great.
yes, perfect. You put it up and then immediately cross it out.
I didn't realize GB would be a crook.
Oh, I was upfront with
Double
them. They
dipping.
figured that you could still read it. So
Yeah, it's just a strike through. It's fine. Then they just started selectively striking through words, and then it just became reads very differently. But then using gust of winds that's a good one. Using gust of winds to destroy certain words in it, and I think there's a
Steel
lot of
Syndicate
very
is
horrible.
but what?
But what?
Lark saw one that it was meant to be a cross out, but it accidentally got underlined. He missed.
You missed. Yes, perfect. So there's a lot of there was a lot of that for about a week going on as things start to ramp up. The there is a small campaign towards the end when it gets become more well known that you're going to be leaving. The Birchfield stays out of it, but the Steel Syndicate starts to put out a series of advertisements, flyers, and criers and things about uh, the idea that if you need help that actually is in the city, you can call them. That type of using the idea that you guys are leaving against you, but it's part of the job, it's part of what you do, and the city reminds you that they are extremely happy with what you're doing and they appreciate it. And the Subrosarium, your relationship with Bula does not really change much. He's terse and a little short, and he doesn't stand for a lot of just familiarity.
He's not Afro. He's not.
Well, I mean, he's kind of how Afro was when in certain points, but more it seems like he's just all business. He's not looking to make friends, but then neither was Afra. So I'm maybe you win him over. But it comes with the territory. He's a cleric, but he's also a businessman and a magic user. He works for an organization that used to be extremely secret. But they have since cut back, obviously come out of they tried to be secret. But they've come out a little bit and started to, they did a campaign where they were working with, starting to open their small shops, their custom magic shops, the items where they make, custom magic items for different people, more of a luxury type feel for the adventurers and for high-end clients. Their campaign slogan was "We've always been there." Behind the scenes, established, 150 years ago or whatever. So they've, they're doing really well. Arland is not concerned. There's two completely different markets, to the point where Bula and Arland have actually been seen talking a bit here and there. About some different ways they can help each other and things. So there's been no real concern about them having any sort of competition either. A lot of research has been done into where my brain just stopped completely. Who's the guy you guys are trying? The last thing you're concerned about, Tess? Who was it again? I'm sorry. Donovan, thank you. God, I want to say Arland. I'm like, it's not Arland. It's not. It's not Albion. It's Donovan. Yes, it totally is. It's all of the above. Donovan is everyone. And all divine research and everything you can find out says that Donovan is no longer anywhere. Anything you ask about him just goes through. It's as if he just completely vanished, almost as if he never existed. When at least the last time you saw him. That does not mean he didn't. That's just means right now there's no evidence of him. So after 4 to 6 weeks with nothing happening, there's not much. I mean, you can only be concerned and paranoid for so long. You start to kind of realize you're forgetting and not thinking about it as much.
You're only paranoid if they're not out to get you.
The northern border, the conflict with the country in the northern border with Kyros. I almost said Talos. It's not Talos. Keratost. With Kyros is not getting any worse, but not getting any better. The Goblin army is up there defending the border, and they're doing a very good job of it. There's been no real big incidences, but the threat is still there. You hear over the time the Kyros, the loyalist movement is gripping the entire nation now. It's not just the just the couple of big cities that it had started in, and that is spreading throughout the area to the point where there have been reports, but nothing really confirmed, that people have seen or spoken with loyalists here in Soldan. So they are considering locking down the border, but they have not gotten to that point yet. What else do you guys want to know about?
Has
The- Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't put my hand up. That was my bad. I was just curious. Has
Okay.
anything else significant that we would have noticed changed with the Subrosaria?
They're more open. You're probably meeting a few more members, which we'll kind of talk about after you get back. They're more open about who they are. They have still not unlocked your door, even though this time they don't want you just coming and going to that facility willy nilly. They have offered to take off your hands any items that they might be able to resell or anything. In exchange, they're going to be creating you new items. So if you guys have lists of things you guys aren't using, now's a great time to kind of pass them off. I know you guys have got a bunch of items just sitting around. Yeah. And in exchange, like I said, because the idea being that they're going to instead of paying for these items, they're like, we'll just take the extra items you've got off your hands, we'll just resell them or break down their magical components and take that energy and put it into another item, which they can do, although it's not easy, but they can do that. Thank you very much. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later today. The inverted cup is doing extremely well. I think you're kind of the only one here that would know about that. But behind the scenes, the inverted cup is growing to the point where they are starting to usurp members from other guilds, other groups, and they are. You start to see the true intent behind the books that they created, whether it's being used as a communication device, obviously, throughout all of the inverted cups, which is allowing them to kind of synchronize things throughout a lot of Cinderhaven in a way they never could before, including with new members and anybody, because anybody can pick up this book and know exactly what's going on and the proper way to do it if you know the right things. That being said, they've also been cracking down pretty heavily on people talking about these things, and you've seen probably a couple of members who have been a little loose-lipped and are no longer there. So as a message,
that's concerning.
Yeah.
Sure. Another sort of brief question on that: has Finkel been asked about the favor that he owes at all, or not?
No,
not yet. Cool.
No. Well, that'll probably happen. I mean, it may never happen. It's just one of those things that is out there as a tool for me if I need it. But right now, I can't think of anything that.
If he's ever asked to help with things, depending on the job, he might take it. He's a little bit lax with it, but he knows that he's still technically a member. So.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, and Daisy is too, so she's probably the one keeping you apprised of most of this.
That's also fair. Okay.
Yeah. All right. GB actually had his hand up, and then I'll get back to you, Glenn.
How has the Chalice and the fans in the Chalice accepted the Cinder Rose name? Are we known by that?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. Once the marketing started, it was 100% change. Every once in a while, you do hear, whatever happened to the Batitudes? I miss them, and people don't seem to realize that you're the same group. Some people, a very small percentage, but they usually get corrected. But overall, that goes extremely well. Speaking of the Chalice, they're building a new facility right next door. They have started to buy property around and outside the city as part of that new expansion into the forest, which will be happening over the next 3 months as well, 4 months. Which they have officially talked to Lark and Primeheart over that time to tell you where the borders of your land are. They were extremely generous. You actually got a little bit more than you had expected initially. The Green Iron Village, especially having the goblins have such a connection to the city and talking about that land and how much of it they truly used. Lark, you're sitting on several acres of land that are being marked off. They put marks, special little ribbons, markers on the trees to kind of denote where your territory is. And they said we can, they'll come in and they'll clear. They've got people that were ready to clear cut the forest if you want, or they'll leave the forest if you want. That's your choice.
Leave it, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Are they Lark's marks then? I deserve that look.
Thank you. That's what I was waiting for. All right.
Logan?
So and then Primark, I'm sure you're keeping the forest as well. The boundary, basically, Primark and Lark, you're now sharing a border of property. They just kind of pushed your two properties up, so now you have an edge all the way up to the edge of the forest. What will now be the new edge of the forest, which is about an acre. About a quarter mile, maybe a little bit more than a quarter mile, 2/5 of a mile away from your house. Is Lark, and about probably a half mile away from Primark is where the new edge of the forest is going to be. Instead of it being like a full mile and a half or two, it'll be just a little bit less. So that's going to be happening while you're gone as well. It's not going to change a lot for you guys because it's mostly going to be farmland. So there's not going to be a lot of people on it anyway. So there's not going to be a lot of noise or anything, or it's going to be for farm, for animal herds and things. So not a lot is changing. It's just kind of changing from one type of nature to another. And then you'll be seeing all sorts of great things. This idea that there is a druid that lives right nearby there is actually, and a folk hero druid at that, is driving the property prices up right there because of the idea that maybe this druid might do some sort of spells that increase the potency of the land and crops there. So
Mark
the price
has that same ability with plant.
Oh,
growth.
cool! So perfect. So the the property all along the edge of the forest there is becoming much more valuable than any of the other farmland out there, which the city is very happy with.
Logan, we have a couple
Yeah.
people in chat saying that the music is a little bit loud. Can we turn it down slightly?
Oh, it is totally loud because I turned it down. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. There we go.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yes, thank you for letting us know. I turned us up as well. Thank you guys so much. Sorry about that. The Chalice is building a new facility. They are building a larger arena. It's being built from the ground up. The Sub-Rosarian and the...
Why am I covered? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Have I not been there at all the whole time?
No, you've been covered this.
Oh, this is going well.
Hi, guys. Hi.
You were just this sort of disembodied voice.
Now you can see the most beautiful among us. You are lucky.
There we go.
So pretty. It's okay. We're getting all the kinks out now.
As opposed to... all right. Anything else? Anything else that's going on that we can...
I've been right here the whole time.
Yeah, no, he's been there.
There was just with the new Chalice location. Is that right next to our guild hall? Or
No. It's still across. It's next door to the old Chalice. They are building a facility that is twice as big. The old Chalice will be maybe 3 times actually. The old Chalice will become a more of a training facility and like the off night stuff, and it's going to be
it's the kiddie fights. It's the kiddie fights.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't fight children.
Well, it depends if it's enough children.
Oh, this is one of those large duck or small horses
yeah.
things. Okay.
Yes, exactly. 1 horse-sized duck or 10 duck-sized horses.
It's the duck-sized horses, because then you might be able to smuggle one out in your coat.
Ducks are jerks. Why would you want one to be horse-sized?
Assholes.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're delicious.
Just a horse-sized animal going at you. Wait, that's geese, but still.
Only the Canadian ones. Logan, my question was...
Yeah.
It may have been answered because I may have been confused. Is the inverted cup manual the same as Afra's advertising campaign that we were in? Is that the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Then never mind. You answered my question.
It's like the guide to Cinderhaven.
It's weird that the title of that book, every word was in air quotes. It was very, very odd. Should have given us a clue right then. It might not have been
really
on the level.
well done. All right, Russ, can you talk a little bit?
Yes, of course. Of course I could talk. I am doing the
Okay, there we
talking
go.
thing. Is there a problem?
Sorry, people were saying you were a little bit quiet, so I was just turning a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, people. I mean, to be fair, no, I'm not going to even bother.
Don't you dare. So, all right. So yeah, the Chalice is going to be a much larger facility because they're unfortunately the actual arena may not be that much bigger, but the demand for seats is becoming much greater now that the champions for the city. Cinderhaven over the 4 to 6 weeks that you're there has grown probably about 10%. People moving to the city for jobs and people trying to sign up for adventuring. The Cinder Rose, as of right now, is not accepting applications per the Sub-Rosarium's instructions. But it is possible that once you guys get back and how they see things are, they may very well, if you're interested, start looking for recruits if you're interested in growing your ranks.
So if you want to submit applications, you can DM Logan.
It's not what I meant. So let's see. So that's that. What other questions do you have? Nothing else. Okay. Well, if you think of any, let me know.
Covered everything that had
The Beer Forge soldiers on. Callie, we're gonna get to. Mari, I'm sure, hires someone to manage her shop while she's gone.
I think we've been doing.
I'm gonna go through my notes.
I think we've been doing very little at the race unit at this point, so it's there's probably other people doing what he used to be doing anyway by this point.
So let's see. Soxy is going to be spending her time with GB and Zeknar Fettles learning Feroche.
I'm learning
Pip?
Feroche?
You mean Pip and Zeknar?
Who did I say?
GB.
Oh, yeah. Pip and small furry, pointy nose. I don't. Pip and
Should I write that in my
and
sheet?
Zeknar learning Feroche.
Change that in World Anvil, please.
Change what?
The description of those two.
Yes.
Oh.
Small furry and pointed nose. Let's see here.
Oh, that was a fast
Pip
delivery.
Pip will be spending a lot of his time learning his firearm. That's his big goal.
Ooh.
He's bringing his boomstick to
to-
Lamina Island.
To help with that, Thinku has a barrel of gunpowder which he's not using, so he'd have given that to Pip, so they'd have to worry about paying for
Nice.
it.
How long does it take for Pip to lose his eyebrows?
Not
slash the front of his body's fur.
long. I was gonna say not long. He's gonna spend some time with Dinknar Fettles. That's a new one. And pick his brain and start learning more about the island, which is a great thing to do. He's going to seal off a few of his burrows, so he's been working on that.
That sounds ominous. Or have people just been
Fucking
falling into
Kyle.
them?
The outhouses.
He says, namely, I'm gonna be sealing off my root cellar full of the Feywild vegetables because I don't want any leaks.
God
Leeks.
damn it! I'd use the Get Out picture, but I can't. He can't get out of a session he's not in.
Slow clap for you, my friend.
He's gonna go to Arlen's and tip to tail, see if they're looking for anything specific. So Pip is starting to put together a list of Pip is going to start putting together a list of items that some of the vendors in town might want from the island. That's actually a really smart idea. So we'll be talking about that. Okay, and that one is private.
No, read that one out loud.
that one will come. That will become apparent very quickly after we,
Okay.
within the first couple of weeks of being on Lamina.
Pip
That's
gets
what happens.
tattoo.
Yeah, he gets shaved for his name day.
He got tattooed when he lost all his fur in the accident.
Okay, we're brainstorming. We're just free associating Feroce culture right now. During their name day, they completely shave as though they were a newborn. It's very odd.
Oshin is working to gain proficiency with nature, learning more about the flora and fauna of Lamina. Reading over Zeknar Fettel's book, spending some time with it, and getting acquainted with Zeknar. Oshin is also asking for the sending stone from Pinball so he can make sure to check up every day what's going on. So that's. And that is everyone that had the ability to check in with me. So I have no one else other than you guys. So let's start talking about what you guys are doing. Who wants to go first? Just give me let's talk about what you want to learn during this time. We'll just start there and we'll go through everyone. So what is it you're going to be learning or focusing on learning or trying to accomplish? Because Logan screwed up way early on this campaign and thought it was 250 hours to learn a new proficiency. It's 250 days. So it's 1,500 hours, but that's okay. 250 hours is a good start for this high adventure campaign. So over the next month and a half, you're going to learn a new. What did I say? I had a list of things you could learn.
Language, tool, or skill.
Language, tool. I thought there were 5 things.
Language, tool, skill, weapon, or suggesting another benefit from the downtime options.
Right, which could include carousing, running a business,
Criminal,
crime, bear.
Let's do crime.
Let's do crime.
I've done it. I've done it.
It has. There's rivals.
We're rivals. Building relationships, religious ceremonies, relaxation. So there was a lot of different options they had to do during this time. So what do you guys do? Somebody was already in the midst of talking. Finku.
Well, no. It's just bees and Finkus are fairly closely linked. Am I right, Andy? Yeah. GB actually came up with this idea for how it's learned, but he can talk about that in a sec. As for what Finku learns during the downtime, he is going to learn the Arcana skill because he's a wizard and it makes sense. And he's getting help from GB with that. Is what he's learning. And
Finku's teaching GB to tinker. We'd been working on it for the last few weeks together, and GB realized it wasn't the most efficient way of doing it. So they screwed up their sleep schedules because that made thematic sense. And when Finku is asleep, GB enters his dreams with the dream spell and creates, for half the time, a little library for them to learn in, so he could teach Finku Arcana, and for the other half, a little workshop. They didn't have to use any sort of materials for Finku to teach him how to tinker and use all the tools, and for GB to figure out how to use Mage Hand and Sam and the weird, sort of vice sort of situation to get things done. So we've been sort of teaching each other in the dream state that GB has the ability to put Finku in.
I like that. It's a neat idea.
And Logan, you can say no, but we had talked about the idea that during that time, since we'd already sort of started working on it a few weeks ago, that maybe we would have enough time to also either purchase or craft some more durable spell books that we could start putting things into.
To take with less.
You can actually have those.
Yeah. Because if we have to take them with us and they get damaged, we are in a pickle. So having a more durable.
Yeah, I would say that the common magic item of a durable spell book would probably be 100 gold.
I will mark it off my sheet. Thank you.
I will do this now. Thank you, Logan.
Last thing, whenever he's not studying, GB would have, once he actually learned the tinkerer's tool set, he would have started incorporating that into his fabrication business. And so he started advertising the ability to make custom watches and little sort of clockwork toys for kids and stuff.
All right.
You are such a great entrepreneur.
Oh.
That's
That
going
was-
in my my advertisements.
Yes, Mingu?
Do you want to go through like the other significant things right now, or do that in a minute?
Nope.
Okay.
We're just doing what you learned. Callie?
Callie learned, she spent a lot of time with Zach Narfettles, kind of talking to him about the religious structure of the cultures of Lamina Island and learning about different kind of religions there and customs that she should look for to avoid offending anyone and gain some proficiency in religion.
All right. Sounds good. Lark?
You never got back to me on the answers, so I'm going to choose one.
Sorry.
No problem. I spent a lot of time with the Illithid, and I reached out to Slethorolok at the caves. And while there, there's something that happens, I guess, later I'm going to tell you about, but I basically wanted to become their representative.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
Support them. They were, I felt they were under-recognized and misunderstood, and I wanted to share knowledge, learn about them, and then share that with the people of Cinderhaven. So
Okay.
they had somebody that could speak for them and introduce them and do that for them.
Okay, so you and in that, and I love that idea, but in that moment, what you're specifically possibly wanting to learn is either their language or the ability to speak telepathically with others. The question I would have is,
Yes.
how far are you willing to go to get that ability?
I mean, he's dedicated. You know him.
I do know him. I just wanted to make sure that I was on the same page. So,
As long
in
as
your-
it wasn't going to affect others.
No. It won't hurt anyone
you know.
at all. It'll only affect you, and it will only affect you positively, they believe. One of the things that in your conversations with them may have come up is they would have asked how Oshin appreciated their gift and their apology for the thing. And then they would have, as you probably would have told them, being very blunt and honest, the idea that Oshin is a vegetarian and is not going to be eating the brains of that Illithid.
Was that how they sound when they talk?
Yes, that's how they sound when they talk. A little more slobbery though. They, as you get to know them more and you start to, they start to trust you more and you trust them more. They suggest that you go and fetch that gift if they will part with it, and you eat it. And often there are some strange effects, which can include learning the knowledge of the people, the person that you are consuming. But it should not affect you negatively in any way. It might, for a day or two, have some weird side effects, but overall, they've never seen anyone affected long term by it.
Okay. Well, they did offer it as a gift, so yeah. I will head out there at some point after discovering this and ask Oshin's permission to take it off of Pinball, out of where Pinball was storing it, and
Yes.
bring it back. And
Which I'm sure I don't think that Oshin would have a problem with it. I'm going to go ahead and make that call and say that Pinball definitely would like it out of the house because the cats keep batting at it and the children keep batting at it. So weird statement. So you take it over, then you go ahead and you sit down, you eat it with them. In doing so, you do for a couple of days have a kind of act a little strange. You talk to somebody that's not there, and I hope you would
So
let
act
Jasper
normal.
know. Yeah, well, it's a little bit weirder because they say weird things, and you kind of just innately just kind of respond without even thinking about it. Well, yeah, so pretty normal. And but afterwards, you start to this weird static that continually is coming from these, still coming from the illithids. That they are able to start understanding each other, but they seem to have lost the ability to telepathically communicate with people from uh, outside of their species. They start to connect. You're able to start understanding this static every once in a while because they innately just talk as they get to know you better. Try to talk to you in that way, forgetting that you can't understand them, and so it just kind of sometimes happens. And they one day when they try to do that, you actually hear them, and instead of hearing static, instead of hearing that kind of that horrid coarse grating sound. And then with some practice over the course of the 4 to 6 weeks, um, you're able to start in a rudimentary way talking back to them. Towards the end, and I think we are going to go 6 weeks now that I keep thinking about this, guys. So as we hit towards the end of 6 weeks, you start to realize that you start to practice, and you have come to the realization you can actually do it with other people. They have to be very close to you. I think it's 15 feet or so. I'll double check, but I think it's going to be half of whatever the distance of Illithid is. But yes, you can actually telepathically communicate with other people, other willing people.
Excellent. And the rest of that,
Nope.
are we going over later?
It's going to be 60 feet because they can do it to 120.
Damn.
So you can telepathically communicate with any willing creature, although they can do unwilling, within 60 feet. GB, you want to change what you were doing?
No, well,
I want that.
No, I just wanted to ask: do you have to share language, or is it just at all?
No, telepathy is always just knowledge and information. For the most part, I've never seen it not that.
I think you just need an intelligence of 4 or above. I think is the
I
thing.
think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool.
Well, let me see what the spells.
Lark. Oh God, Lark is now our translator.
Share words, images, sounds, other sensory images with one other person through the link. Target recognizes you as a person communicating with. Intelligence of at least creatures with intelligence at least 1 or higher. I'm gonna double check this. That's the spell. All right. So, and 60 feet, I'm going to play with that. We're going to leave it at 60 for now, but that may be a little bit long. 30 feet might be. What is it for the other races out there? Do we have any other player races that have telepathy?
Ghost, no, whatever.
Ghostwise,
Ghostwise
Brave.
Okay, let's find out how much it is for Ghostwise.
Oh, Brave.
The Brave use the Ghostwise halfling ability.
Right, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah,
ability.
just
So whatever. I think whatever that is,
it's
probably
30 feet, I believe.
So,
yeah, I think that's
that may make more sense for a normal non-illithid creature.
So, does anyone else feel like Lark won?
What did I win?
The ability to not need me to cast telepathic bond. You're welcome.
It's only
though.
one person at a time, so it's not party line.
Also, it's still a ritual, so it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
Oh, I still like telepathic bond. It's very fun.
It's very, very fun. I would take it myself if there was ever a session that I'm not with GB.
Logan, would you like me to share what else I did there?
No. Let's come back to that. I'm
Okay,
just wondering
okay.
about learning right now. So, Primeheart, what about you?
Primarch spent a lot of time at the Temple of the Primal Gods, uh, learning to do the prayers of the Primal Gods, and in doing so, learned how to speak Draconic. Although when he does, it is kind of in a sing-song voice. He doesn't really know how to speak it normally, but he's trying. So he learns Draconic from Callie.
I like that. Is that everyone? No, Syl. What are you learning?
So Syl dove headfirst into the Tome of the Goa or whatever it was called, and worked with Wit a lot on it, trying to decipher some of the more complicated aspects of Goa creation and imparting certain abilities onto Goa and that sort of thing. And they worked out some of the things that need to be done in order to impart like arcane / divine magic onto a Goa. And I don't know whether or not that studying and learning, say, celestial geometry that's going to get incorporated into Vaz's sculpt would mean that there's religion or arcana proficiency. I don't actually know which one to choose.
So, what is it you're trying to do exactly? I understood most of the words there, but what is your end goal?
She's trying, from a meta perspective, Syl is hoping to create Vaz as a divine soul sorcerer. She wants him to have some sort of innate divine connection to Airshale, which would allow him to have arcane magic abilities, even if it's just like an NPC version.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because that has to be inherited. Got it.
Yes. So the idea of
okay.
using the Airshale as the actual inheritance of that ability. That's the device.
I just
even if it's turning him into
we're
sort of like
gonna
more
talk
of a mage,
world building
right?
for a second. We're going to talk world building for a second because this is important, and this session is already going to be a short one, I think. The concern I have with this precedence is that you then are now taking away choice from any Goa that's ever born with an inherited ability like that. If they're so as from a player perspective, the idea is the only way you can, and again, I suppose it's like, well, I was born this way because I had dragon heritage, sure. But the idea that connection of that non-choice is right there. The person that created me said, "Nah, you don't get to decide what you're going to do. You're only going to be a sorcerer." That seems kind of weird to me, and I don't know if that's the case or not. GB?
Well, I don't know if it's pushback or not, but the reaction I have to that is Syl was made as an ambassador. Maybe she wasn't made specifically to be the barbarian, divine version of barbarian that she is, but she was created with a purpose and has been fulfilling that purpose.
Well, yeah, but my point is that's stats. Like, that's a justification for how your stats are, and I get the ideas.
That's kind of what I was going for here. I just wanted to impart magic and allow him to access that aspect of Airshale. Well, my intention was to try to figure out how to let the children all have some sort of connection to Airshale in different ways.
Well, I think just by being Goa, they're going to. I mean, there's not.
Okay.
There's no. I think anybody has that opportunity. But I like
this might be partly me.
I do kind of like this idea.
It was partly me just looking in a narrative sense, looking to have sort of magical connections with the Goa children, the figurines. Sure. If it's not really appropriate for Syl to be like, I'm giving them this, but we just in a meta way say this is how it manifests. But
I'm not saying that at all. I think it's a neat idea, because you could easily also go that, maybe if they take the magic adept feat or something at some point, that was hearkening back to that was given to me before I started, and I didn't pursue the path of the sorcerer. I decided to be whatever I am, but sure. But you gotta think most Goa don't take a class.
Sure. Well, how about less about taking a class, but more about imparting maybe the magic adept feat from the get-go or something like that. Like it's an NPC that happens to have a flavor of a certain magic set because of the way that they
or
were
can learn
sculpted
it
and
very easily or something. Sure,
that's fine.
yeah,
I wasn't going to pressure into having NPCs be full class.
Well, I kind of like the idea of I'm 50-50 on it, because this idea that you're whatever you create, you're taking choice away. It's like having a designer baby. This same. We have a lot of weird kind of parallels to our world with the Go. It's kind of neat. But creating like, oh, I'm going to make sure that my baby has blue eyes and doesn't have any diseases and has blonde hair and whatever. I didn't mean to use those specifics. Sorry.
This is more like I want to create a baby that can cast magic.
Right, but that's my point. It's like,
well,
not until their 18th birthday.
What could be done is that,
which is day one for the Goa.
Unless they learn it from their friends.
Sorry, go ahead, Fink.
No, that's fine. Just with how that kind of works out, what could sort of it be is that the Goa know that they have that option, but they don't necessarily need to take it. It's
right.
I feel like Sorcerer might be the wrong way of going about it because of how bloodline related it is.
To me, it's like
that hurts me on an emotional level because Sorcerers are my favorite class. But
yeah.
It doesn't have to be Sorcerer. I literally just meant in terms of a flavor, the idea of Syl is the divine equivalent of a barbarian. I like this idea that Airshale has a more divine connection and arcane connection to magic. So like that would be maybe the flavor of however the magic manifested in the... I'm sorry I brought this up during game. This was a long conversation.
No, I actually think it's a great thing to talk about during game. I think this is a cool thing to talk about right now, especially on a session that's a little bit shorter. I think the audience, I mean, if you're not enjoying this, let us know. We'll move on. But I think it's a good discussion to have, and it gives some insight into how we world build. I think it's a great thing we should bring up on DRPG as well. So what I think of it, though, is what you're doing is you're basically coming home and taking the violin and putting the violin in the crib and being like, you're going to be a great violinist.
I take it more like how about this? I take it less about violin and more like I am guaranteeing they have some sort of magical or some sort of musical aptitude and whatever they want to do.
You fill their room with music and sheets and musical
and any kind of instrument they want.
Influence them to a certain direction, which is what parents do. I mean, that's not.
I mean, sorcerers. They're born with the abilities because something has given them those abilities. They're not randomly born with the ability to do divine stuff. A celestial has touched them and said, "You're going to be born with this," or like they've influenced the birth of that child. So sorcerers, in my opinion, are the perfect thing to say for this because draconic sorcerer, the draconic sorcerer, like it's made from a bloodline of dragons. It's.
I mean, the only one that might be not like that is maybe wild magic, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong about the celestial thing, because wild magic is.
Yeah, no, I think I think basically the idea is it's just more of opening up the concept that this Goa could have those abilities, and kind of guiding it towards giving it a better chance that that's what's going to happen. It's not guaranteed that's what's going to happen, but it's just giving a better chance that this Go is made for this purpose, because that's the way Go were made. Was they were made for a purpose. So the idea that we're going to make
that's how I envisioned the ceremony. I mean, if you don't put any intention in, nothing's like they're just going to be a dude. There's not going to be anything.
What's up, bro?
Well, just this idea that you have to put a lot of intention in like every aspect of the work if you're going to do it. So I needed to come up with some sort of intention for it.
I just thought it was an interesting idea that it parallels with that designer baby style and this idea of almost.
That's not the tone I was trying.
Well,
to
no, I
understand
understand that, but I'm just saying it is there. It's a part of it. I didn't think about that from the get go. It's just something that just struck me. That a Goa, like, so if we had one PC and we're going to introduce a new player to the game, and that PC is like, I'm going to make their character. That PC is deciding what that character is, even though the other player would have input, obviously. But that PC, they're going to wake up and be like, I didn't have a choice. You made me what I am. And I can see that relationship. But you can have that relationship with parents too. It's like, you treated me so and so, for so long, and now that's why I'm like the way I am. No player in this game, or no character in this game in particular. I think it's We didn't say any names. I just think it's a neat concept to talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on so long about it. I thought it was really good. GB, you want to wrap us up on that point? Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to wrap it up, but my thought was that if what she's doing is influencing the proclivities of the person rather than forcing a choice on them, if they're interested in that stuff because that's what she exposed them to, prior to them being ritualized, and they then, like, if they then choose to follow that path because that's what they gravitate towards, I mean, is that really taking away their choice?
That's a great question. I don't think there's an answer, and I don't think we're going to come up with one now. But I think that's
Did
just a
GB
neat
choose to be
philosophical
a wizard, or was he awakened to be a wizard?
Yeah, see, that's it. Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, an awakened animal would never really probably become a wizard because they are supposed to start with intelligence of 10. GB was unique. I let him roll his stats and choose what he wanted. But you could say that about any of it. Every time we create a character, we're kind of forcing its hand into a different way. It's weird. Anyway, I have no problems with that. Basically, what you're doing is you're going. It's going to be high wisdom. You're putting the points towards wisdom. You're putting, which is what we've decided up until now.
Charisma.
Not wizard.
Charisma.
Sorry.
So it's a
Charisma. For which is what we've decided you do as you're creating a goal, as you're kind of deciding where its stats are going to be and a few of the different things. But I like the idea of also going, okay, now he's going to have, we're going to give him his talent is going to be in this in magic or in divine or arcane magic. I like that.
The end goal with all of the kids was Syl was partially inspired by the idea of First and the others complementing each other, but she didn't like the idea of them complementing each other at the expense of any other skills. She wanted them to still be full realized people that could make choices, but she wanted them to all have a different, just a variety of connection to what Airshell was capable of. One, so that she could learn that, and two, so that they could just be this sort of patchwork of what is possible in
absolutely. I love that a lot. And the idea that not doing what the first did, and I like this as a story point as well, but not doing what the first did and saying, okay, I'm taking away everything you are and just maximizing this one thing you do really well. You're like, you can do this good, but you, as a full person, you can also be independent. You get both worlds, and I like that a lot. I think it's perfect. So yeah, no, it's great. I like this idea that as part of the ritual, there's going to be some choices you have to make. Whether you want to kind of focus them on their talents and giving them these things have to be chosen. And the not sad thing, but the interesting thing about the Goa, I think, is that if you, as you said, if you don't give them something, they get nothing, and they're just going to be.
They'll just exist. They will just be it'll be a random commoner NPC.
They'll be a commoner NPC, exactly. I like that a lot, and maybe a lot of Go are made that way. But this, you're trying to create something that has a very special, particular purpose. That's okay.
Just trying to hit the talk button.
It's okay. I like that a lot. I think that's a really cool idea. This idea that, well, I have to give them something, so I have to make a decision. Otherwise, they get nothing. So something has to be done, and I can't ask them. So what do? I like that a lot. So.
Trying the best to make the best decisions for them as you can, since they can't make those decisions before they exist.
Welcome to Parenthood.
It's like picking the right preschool. They can't decide what preschool to go to.
Right.
But you gotta get them to the right preschool.
Here's your bag of flour and a diaper.
But yeah, so just last thing, she's got his face is mostly sculpted, and his coat, it's not visible, but the thing that Andy called his little Dr. Horrible coat is it takes most of his knees. It's like past his knees. He's like a little stubby guy, and his coat's gonna have she's working with Wit on sketching out the celestial geometry that would go on his coat, so that she can do very delicate, later when they get back, very delicate bronzing in the geometry, which will get influenced by the transmutation, so he'll still be able to move around and stuff. But it'll be part of that arcaneness.
Very cool.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
In her work in trying to get that accomplished, it seems like if Syl isn't
currently proficient in religion or currently proficient in Arcana, maybe she gets that through all of this work.
I
that
was
she's working
saying
on?
the intent was if we were going to pick a skill that then she would then develop because she's been studying and practicing, it'd be one of those two, and I just don't know which one.
So I would either go with one of those two, or I would say that Syl, over that time, could learn the ritual to transmute air shell.
I approve. I accept that.
Because it's basically a very hyperfocal feat. You're instead of being a ritual caster, you just learn this one very difficult ritual, and you may not know every particular aspect of it, but the idea that you could then this would give you the ability to do several things. It would allow you to turn sculpts into the super hard version of Airshell, or the any of the other ones, the super lightweight. They can then be enchanted by an arcane person to do other things, and this would also be the first step towards possibly learning the abilities that senior psychopath has.
Aurum?
Scarface has.
Aurum.
Aurum.
Goa Washington.
Goa Washington. That's what I was looking at. That he had that's kind of the next step, or maybe two steps after that. But this would give you the same abilities that your mother has, and would allow you to awaken Airshale as a Goa.
I was debating whether or not she would attempt to reach out to her mother during this time, and she might have.
Well, and that's the
like,
thing, for studying
if
things,
there were
absolutely.
questions.
Your mother may, hearing that you were interested in doing this, your mother may even come here to work with you a little bit, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Great.
And,
I think that's all.
And Finku, she'd need help making a mechanism to cut a hole in the floor and slowly lower the boulder into the basement, because if anybody else, if she starts doing really intense stuff, she doesn't want to like just in the main room of her workshop.
I could make a winch.
Yeah, just a winch,
Yeah.
and then we cut the floor out and slowly
I mean,
lower the boulder and put it back.
if Finku is doing all of his studying in his dreams, he's got a fair amount of time to be doing that.
I was gonna say Lark and
Anybody.
and what's their names could just come over and pick it up and take it down the stairs.
Fair. Just regardless, she will
I
ask
know.
her friends to help her move it into the basement, and that's where like the Airshale sanctum will be. She'll be like making it look like a comfy, cozy kind of workshop.
Are you gonna start molding?
Oh yeah, no, never mind. That boulder being, if it's 4x4x8, which would have given you the option to do a large one, which is about right, it is 22,000 pounds.
We're gonna deal with a winch,
Yeah.
I can make a
or
winch.
just drop it and
What's
hope
your
for the
push pull
best.
drag?
I'm looking it up right now.
Both the Goliaths.
It's like 900 and something. So the two of us with Oshin, and if we had Syl, like the three of us.
Me,
could do it
Oshin, and
equally.
Lark could probably do it.
Yeah,
What? Your push pull drag is 900?
yeah, I think so.
This is
Goliaths get double.
22,000.
Oh, 1,000.
Yeah.
Not 2,200, 22,000.
22,000.
Primart is
22,000,
600.
Not
Yeah.
22.
22,000. It is 11 tons.
Yeah,
You can
no.
lift half a ton. Yeah. So no, they're not. Wow, that's heavier than I expected.
Either way, Finku has nothing to do while he's waking. He can make a winch.
Yay!
Yeah. So you will get it winched and stuff. Now I'm trying to think of how you got it over here, but we're gonna let that one go. You know how you got it over here? GB or someone cast reduce, and it became 1/8 of its weight, and then you guys got it out of the cart.
Well, that's how we got it downstairs, then, if that's how we got
That's
it
true,
in.
yeah. So at that
That's
point,
fine.
yeah.
At that point, can I just turn it into a chicken and we can carry it?
No.
We can make a ramp, and then Primart can just spread some seeds out and make a plant growth to just like slowly slide it down through like the heavy
Right. So
bramble.
at
There
that
was-
point, it's about the size of a big cooler, and it only weighs about 3,000.
Then we could definitely carry that.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining a giant Ant-Man style montage of, all right, this is how we're gonna go do this, and we're just coming up with all the
Yes.
different ways to get it downstairs.
See, you went to Ant-Man. I went to Shaun of the Dead. where they're
That's
trying to
true.
make a
Jonathan got the
plan
good one, too.
and everything, like everyone, like as soon as they make a plan, so it's like, well, what about this? It's like, all right, we'll do it again. That's where my brain went.
Sorry about that, you guys. I had to have a
Mhm.
delivery of some mattresses, and Kendall's bed frame came in as well.
Hey.
2 days ahead of
Awesome.
schedule.
All right. Thank
So,
you for the flight of
I think-
fancy and intense
No, I think it was a
theological and
great
moral
conversation.
discussion.
I thought it was a great conversation to have. All right, so that's what Syl's going to be working on. So, Syl, during that time, you're going to be working probably half sculpting and half learning rituals and working on that. But at the end of it, and with a little bit of your mom's help, you will have the ability to cast the Goa transmutation ritual, or the airshale transmutation ritual, and we can start expanding and looking into what that means. It also means you have the ability to create airshale dust, which we'll talk about.
Y'all are welcome. Looking at GB and Finko.
I like
And primer
sorcerers
and
and
any
this is a
caster,
sorcerer.
really.
Yeah.
Sure, but they're the ones
Sorcerer-
that like hooked into it.
Sorcerer abilities are the best, and I'm putting it out there.
I don't know. Twinning heal would be pretty awesome.
Twinning Revivify is sweet.
Sigh, fine. Having the Golomancy rituals to make a Goa, Syl will consider practicing first with a small amount of airshale.
I
But
would
you're gonna
like
have a
people...
lot to turn into dust. But again, it takes a lot to make a little bit. So
The dust is gonna be after all the Goa are sculpted. It's everything that comes from that process. She would
yeah,
probably.
but you'll have some smaller chunks as well that you can do some other things with. Make
I will not.
jewelry or
I'm gonna
something
write on
like
a
that.
chalkboard. I will not make a Goa hamster. I will not make a Goa hamster.
But you won't make a Goa puppy, but you make a Goa ham. What's going on here?
No, I didn't know how big the piece was.
Can Goa fly?
Well,
A Goa fly? Oh man, like a sentient version of that little silver fly figurine that you can send to spy on things.
That'd be
That would be
amazing.
awesome.
I think there's a size limit for the sentience, though. We'll have to talk
Yes,
about it.
we were saying that.
And
That's
maybe
one of the
maybe
reasons
puppy
why
is
they
too
don't
small
make.
for the-
Yeah, that's why they don't make Goa this big, is because you can't necessarily contain that
But
amount of.
a living Goa chess pieces would be kind of cool. Like not sentient, but like just like they move and stuff.
I'll think about where her line
Yeah.
is.
I
But
can
what's
figure
weird
that
then
out. I
is
haven't-
when the pieces start making the moves before you can, and it gets locked
and
in.
then they
Look
just do the
around.
whole. They just start shifting, and you're just like, oh, I'm not needed anymore.
But one of the pawns is the most intelligent.
Person
so
is
it
one
just-
thing.
Yeah.
Making-
What?
Making
Uh,
chess pieces is different. I
yeah.
said I'm gonna figure out where her line is.
Oh, but if it's
Callie
too
like
small a piece to do
twitches
anything else with,
a little bit.
I'll think about it.
it's already out of the ground. I mean, So that was everyone's what they wanted to learn. So the next thing is I'd like to talk about what you do beyond that. What other significant moments do you have? And I know I asked this as two separate questions before, but it kind of makes more sense as kind of one. So tell me about what else you do during that time, Fink.
Finku's is fairly simple. There's nothing too much to it. After sorting out the winch or whatever they're doing to get the Goa thing down and helping with the sculpting, because Scylla asked for that, he was spending most of the remaining time that he has with Daisy, because he knows he's going to be away for a little bit, and he just wants to keep doing that. Also, in that time, because she had said she had interest about learning limited magic with Magic Initiate, he's going to try and help as much as he can with that.
Okay.
I'm not sure how close she is to that.
Well, so after this month, she'll definitely have it down. So I have
Great.
to decide what she's going to take. I got to finish up her character sheet too, because that's going to be relevant.
You said Shock and Grasp for one of them, for one of those cantrips. Whatever you want to decide. If you want to, it being inspired by mine, I can give you my list, and then you can put it on
Yeah,
that.
no, we can work on that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
Sounds
so
great.
you're going to help out Daisy. Okay. And is there one big particular moment that you have in mind?
Not particularly. Just. Sorry, I didn't have as much time to prepare because of time.
That's okay. I know. I sprung this on a lot of people last night.
Yeah. I didn't get it until this morning, unfortunately, but just
We can always do downtime.
I might do a bit of downtime for that. But yeah, just spending as much
Sure.
time as he can because he's going to be away for a bit. And he's not got sending, he's not got a way of being in contact with her while he's away. He will also give her his old spellbook to look after while he's away.
Okay.
So
Sure.
that could be a small moment which I'll do a downtime for.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Okay. All right. Who's next? Hands? Anyone? Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Can you hear me? Okay, Callie.
So Callie, after the council made their decision to not have Callie become a member of the council, which she was actually very okay with, as that's a more responsibility than she probably wants. She has this house of Afra's, and she and Primeheart already live out on Primeheart's estate. She's got her temple. She's kind of like, I don't really need a third building for me. So she goes to Astrid, who is one of the caretakers that has been hired at her church, and asks Astrid to help her put some figures together on what it would cost to turn Afra's house into a home for foster kids and orphans, basically, and basically make a memorial house in Afra's name to care for the youth of the city.
Okay. She starts to work up some numbers on that. But she she throws out some estimates off the top of her head that don't, I mean, they don't shock you because they're low. I mean, they're not that high, and she's being fairly conservative. So, you even doubling the numbers, you're like, that's like a quarter of one of my takes of jobs. It's probably 200 or 300 a year to be able to do. In addition, well, you have the house already. The building would be the expensive part, but since you have the house already, it's just food, clothing, and employee, and 50 gold a year for employee, and she can spread 150 gold out easily. And if you wanted more and luxury and great things on top of that, great. But also, she recommends talking to the council and seeing if they would be interested in sponsoring, unless you want to keep it completely private. But the city might help out to help take care of something like this. It's okay if you don't.
She's gonna start it out as being private, and then maybe after she gets back, when she can be there to help oversee something that's partnered with the city, then she'll broach the idea. But until she's back, she wants something that's just hers.
Okay. All right. So, do you want to put more than that into it initially? I mean, there might be some renovations you want to do and things. Afra's house is not incredibly large. It's basically it's a nice little 2-bedroom deal. So it's not like super big, but you could probably divide it up more.
Yeah, I will. She'll put in 1,500 gold.
Okay.
Towards making it.
All right. Do you want to look at expanding the house at all, or?
If possible, yeah. She'd like it to be able to have at least 5 kids at all times, if not more. Eventually, she'd like to have more.
Well, if you don't mind putting 2 kids per room, you could easily do 4, probably 6 now. You could do some renovations to probably make it a 4-bedroom with 2 kids in each room and do 8.
That's.
Or you could add another floor. It's another option.
That sounds good. That's what she'll do. So, would 1,500 be good for that, or should I?
Not enough to add another floor, but absolutely to renovate the first floor. So that could be a good start, and that would be enough fundage to run the place for probably the first.
Perfect. So she'll put in 1,500 to work on that, and then she'll let Astrid know that, of course, when she gets back, she's fully planning on being a part of operations and spending time with the kids as well. So. Right, then that's what she does. The only memento of Afra's that she's keeping is the Ring of Regeneration that Afra had given to Nathan. She's keeping it for herself as a memento of Afra.
Okay, That was most of the items did belong to the Sub-Rosarium. However, that we've determined can be your magic item as well, so it kind of fits the double purpose there. So the Ring of Regeneration, I believe. I'll have to double check the price on that. I think that's about the right range. Actually, I checked last night, didn't I?
Yeah, you said it was okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the perfect kind of thing, right? Lark?
Yeah, I can go next if you're.
Yeah, please do.
In addition, I didn't know Callie's. We didn't discuss any of this, so but Lark would have absolutely. If this is this going to be done before we leave?
Depends on what it is.
The kids there and the.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he would have spent because he's close enough with Callie to have known that this was happening. He would have volunteered to go by there, maybe not once a day, but as often as he could to basically be like a mentor and play games with them and just be a fun uncle type person and just kind of hang out with them and make sure they were able to play and have fun.
Excellent.
He also spent time when he wasn't in the Illithid cave working at home, taking care of Jastra and preparing for the incoming Rugrats. And his main thing that he did was while he was there learning in the Illithids, he spoke to Slethorolok again and asked, along with learning the telepathy and whatever, he asked him if he could go back to the dream world. He volunteered to go back and learn to relive that as somebody who's already gone through it, but to go through it again to get more out of it, and as a way of learning more about them. And
so he will tell you that it was not necessarily a dream. You were actually there. If you go back again, it can do bad things. However, and I didn't know you were doing this, I missed this part. However, he does say that he can send you to the next place.
Does it have a straw mattress? That is very important to me. There is a selfish reason for me going back.
He says he doesn't know what it's like, but he expects it to be very similar. He says he has no idea what the place where his people are suffering looks like. He just knows they're suffering.
I will do that.
Okay.
It would be my pleasure.
So we're going to need to talk about a downtime for you doing that, because it's a very similar experience. These people are being rescued in a completely different place, and assuming that you're successful, which we have no doubt that you will be, they probably won't come here to Cinderhaven, but overall the idea is you're going to be rescuing more of his people. Probably not as big of a group, but the psychic link that connects his people is screams out louder and louder for how many of them are together suffering. And so it's a smaller group that he knows about, that he wasn't able to reach out to people like you as well. But we're going to talk about how that looks exactly, and then we'll go ahead and write a downtime for that. And
Okay.
yes, they have a straw bed.
All right.
So what's important about the straw bread?
Yes, his goal is to get a second strawberry out of it.
Okay.
Because he only has one and he needs two, as far as he knows.
Right. Got it.
That's
So somewhere
much it.
along the way, Lark, Jastra, you will probably learn that Jastra every week, every 5 days or so, actually, she has a cleric friend of hers come by and cast a divination spell or an augury spell. Whichever one does the next 7 days, to find out if the childbirth is going to be that week or not. And at some point, they say yes, and they contact you and say that the divination magic they're using says that these children are coming, probably right towards the end there, probably around week 4 or 5. But they say that within the next 7 days, these children are coming out. So, and probably not within the next 2 days. You know that because she was just here 5 days ago. So you have 2 days to kind of prepare, and then sometime in the next 5 days after that, probably a week before you leave, your Jastra has her children. So I need you, sir, to roll me. We know one is definitely male, so I need you to roll me a d20 for the other.
$10.
That is 2 boys.
Okay.
So you and Jastra have 2 beautiful boys. Now the question becomes, what are they?
Goliath, Golielf, or Elfliaths?
Elf lions.
Goliath.
Or Nicosta.
Oh,
Well, yeah, there's
oh,
that too.
shit.
That's a whole other
Oh
issue.
no! Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't make one.
A Golinicothelf. A Niklaelf. A Niklaelf. So there are some charts that exist in some other publications that don't include Goliath, unfortunately, that talk a lot about the percentages in which species have the dominant genes and things. But I'm going to let you choose. So you can have 2 Goliaths, 2 elves, or one of each.
I hadn't thought of that.
Would it be a half elf?
Be a
It
half
could
elf
be a half elf as well.
with Goliath. Half elf, big half elves. I like it.
Yeah, I would go with 1 half elf and
It could be a full elf as well. I don't just completely discriminate like that. So
The chat came up with a fun idea of a stone elf.
To be the Goliath elf.
half
I don't-
elves,
you
or,
choose. I
high
don't-
elves already
roll some
have
dice.
kind of bluish skin, so it'd be grayish. I think
I can't
a
choose,
half
so
elf would be a very cool thing to have, but I also think a full Goliath. So I'm thinking a full Goliath and a half elf.
That was
would
actually
be,
where I was leaning. Is so.
Very, very Thor Loki.
Beefy half elf.
A beefy half elf and a scrawny Goliath.
Oh
But scrawny Goliath is still 7.5
no!
feet
It's
tall.
still,
So
it's
you know,
still average. Yeah.
it's
just
still
lanky.
huge. And yeah, he's lanky. All right, so Lark. Now the all important question, the one you did prepare for, I hope. What are their names?
Well, Jastra, I'm kind of looking to see if she's disappointed because she really had a name picked out for a female that she wanted because we had discussed it and she could choose the female name, and I was going to choose the males. So I'm going to actually,
She's not disappointed at all.
if it's okay, I'm going to give one of the children the name she picked for the female anyway, and
Okay.
just go with it.
All right.
So the one that looks like a Goliath is going to be Berwin,
I like that.
Berwin.
Berwin. That's a cool name.
And
Burr. What's up,
Original,
Burr?
it was originally Bearwin, but Jastra had to talk him down.
yeah,
I don't know if she would have. I
it
like Berwin.
means bear's friend. So
There you go.
Oh no, and he has a teddy bear. Ah!
and the other one, I'm about to say because these are going on the cradles, and the name he had picked out for his, if it was 2 sons, was going to be Iorek, Iorek.
I like that.
But
That sounds gender neutral to me.
that was when Lark had picked out. But he
Oh, I
looks
see.
over at Jastra and he goes with Vasana as a tribute to Vasifra and her daughter Saldana. So he's going to have an original name, but
Okay, I love that. That's perfect. So,
Berwin
Berlin,
and
what?
Avasana.
Berwin, Berwin and Vasana. I think those are amazing. Those are perfect. So the names are inscribed on the cradles, and because yes, GB,
Could we get a canon spelling from Mike?
you type them
VA.
down.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'll type it.
Type them out.
Thank you.
Because you're not quite used to the cradles yet. As you say the names, they just start to rock on their own. It's kind of creepy, but they are very beautiful and they kind of sparkle a little bit. But they are neat, and you have two amazing, beautiful little children. I don't know how many people were going to be there or wanted to be there. I did not hear from anybody that they were interested, so probably a small affair.
Javea was there.
Javea was definitely there.
Callie
and
would have
so
wanted to be there because she loves babies, but if she was out of
Jasper would not have had a problem with that.
You're welcome.
Primer would have wanted to be there.
Well,
That's fine.
I would have
Again,
invited
Jasper
my-
doesn't- Jasper doesn't care who comes. She's just like, whatever. So anybody that wants to be there is fine. She did put the kibosh on 3 goblins because they all wanted to be there. So the rest of the goblins, almost all of them, are literally in the other rooms or around outside, around campfires, like
I'm-
waiting at the balcony for the presentation of the
For the
children.
Lion King moment, is what I'm hearing?
For the Lion King. Yes, the Lion King moment, not the Michael Jackson moment, please.
No, it's the Lion King moment.
So, yeah, the Lion King moment.
I hold them out the window.
Everyone starts cheering. Then they all start bowing. And
Several trees are all like shaking.
the trees are there.
GB does the downward dog sort of thing.
That's okay.
It's a yoga move.
Plays Circle of Laugh. Okay. Yeah, so there's two bouncing babies around. Jasper is completely okay with you taking off. She understands your life that you lead. She's used to being alone. She's not that worried about it. Says the babies will be fine. They're not going to miss you. They're not going to remember missing you. They will miss you, but they're not going to remember missing you. Javea will be there constantly. So will a few goblins, I'm sure. She will be fine. So don't worry about
hundred.
that. As a gift, the goblins give you a set of sending stones, so you can be in contact constantly, or at least regularly. They work 3 times a day.
Oh, okay. Great.
Nice.
Thank you.
And you get to spend a week with your chitlins before you take off.
The chillins.
Your chitlins. That's right. That's the chitlins. Primeheart, what are you doing? What do you got going on?
Primeheart, other than that adorable thing, he was focusing on the temple of the primal gods, kind of devoting a lot of his time to that, and teaching a lot of the people in the poorer districts how to tend to gardens, and he will tell them that they're welcome to use the outside to tend to gardens and to test out stuff there, to try. You could each have your own little plot and all that, and just kind of draw people to the temple. Just kind of show them that this is a place where all domains are welcome. That it's not like every domain is separate. Everyone can come here and commingle.
Okay.
That's pretty much what he's doing.
Non-denominational.
Yeah. As long as you like dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just love dragons.
Or don't tell
Must
us you
love
don't like dragons. Yeah.
There you go.
He also
Go into church hiding your motivations. That's perfect.
there you go. He would have also done a few weddings, but most specifically, he would have done Oshin and Pimble's wedding.
Yes.
That was kind of a promised thing to him. He was disappointed that he wasn't able to do Nathan and Mari's, because Rosie was able to do that. She had gotten that spell, but he definitely did their wedding. So that
Very
was
cool.
the thing.
Nice. Alrighty. Perfect. GB, what do you got?
I mostly said it already. I spend time working on filling out the enduring spell book and working
Mhm.
in my shop and spending time with Finku. The one moment that I was sort of interested in exploring was at some point he would sort of broach the idea with Ivy of going out to Matthias's farm. And if you don't have anything prepared for that because I didn't DM you, then that's fine. But
So what are you trying to do by going out to Matthias's farm? What's the
he's just
goal
sort
here?
of been the idea that she gave him that was sort of rattling around in his head that maybe Matthias might know more than he's letting on, or that he might have more than he was letting on because of the picture frame, has been sort of rattling around in his head, and so eventually he sort of approaches Ivy about going over there and just sort of having a conversation with him about it.
Okay, so you and Ivy go over and confront Matthias about it, but in a nice way. Although Ivy is not 100%. See, the concern I have here is Ivy is a little blunt and GB's a little naive. So together, there's very little subtlety in asking questions. As you guys start to kind of get around to the meat and potatoes of why you're there, he does kind of admit that he's known your father a little better than he kind of let on before, and that he follows you guys, your antics. He's got a lot of the news articles in the local papers and things, the flyers and things that are about you guys. He has them. He's got the book there. He's got just some things just kind of laying around here. It's not like he's got a creepy wall with all of it pinned up or anything. He says that that in speaking with your father, before when things started to get bad, your father approached him and left a few things to kind of give you over your life. Um, and he says, but now that you know it, and he'll bring out a few extra little things that you were supposed to get next year and the year after, and things just for special occasions, and like if
You
either of
put
you ever
those
get
back in the
married or
no, you put those right back in the closet.
he puts them back.
Yeah, okay. I'll see you soon. You tell me when the next one comes, okay?
I'll let you know. Although now you know, basically he says, now you know if I do pass away or anything that they're here. So he is very old.
You're not allowed to do that.
Well, all right.
You call me if that happens. I'll fix it.
Who's gonna talk to GB about the farm upstate?
This is
The
the
people
farm
farm-
upstate.
the
Where's he
people
going to go?
farm
Home?
There's nowhere else to go. You're already at the farm.
Oh no, he's already at the farm. He doesn't exist. He's just a ghost.
Old man Matthias, he's been dead for 30 years.
Ooh, that's Matthias saying that. That's anyway. So that is the dark secret of Matthias. Is that he knew your father really well, and your father asked him to do a very big favor because your father knew what might end up happening.
All lies. Okay.
Probably all lies.
I believe
Probably
most of
lies.
it.
It's probably Hobbs just lying to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because the city is safe right now, so there's no reason to stay in hiding. So yeah, completely.
Oh no,
lies.
Occasionally his accent slips.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I hate you, GB. Okay. All right.
He takes all the gifts back. He says, all right, that's fine. I'm going to put them over there.
I mean... We're so mean to our characters.
So mean. All right. So.
I have my thing.
All right, go.
Because with Goa, it's a very private thing. Syl would have wanted to make sure that she and Dub got to, figure out what their promises, what their vow was going to be to each other. partly so if there was any issues with legal stuff in the city, they I was thinking they could go into business together for a particular reason.
Okay.
Now that the boulder's in the basement, I was
Is that a euphemism?
I don't know. I was thinking of them turning the workshop into more of an artist collective.
Oh.
And maybe going through the Dawn district and trying to find people that wouldn't normally have a space like that and making it more of like a sort of a pseudo scholarship program where it's like, this is a space, we'll give you a place to work on whatever you want, and we'll facilitate selling it to people. And so it's almost like it's like a commune / consignment thing, that anything that they make in the workshop they can sell, and then they do like they go to like the farmers markets and stuff and sell the art, especially in like the Pearl District area where people have the disposable income to buy art. And so that would be what she would basically leave to Dub to keep him feeling motivated to do things for people and give him something to do while she's gone so he doesn't worry. And also she's excited by that idea herself, so she wants to get back to it. But
I love it.
And Wit and Allure are more than welcome to participate if they wanted to participate or help run it or anything like that. They're always
they'd
welcome.
absolutely be interested in helping run that. I think it's an amazing idea.
And there's a standing number of spots for any kids at the house that Callie set up, that if any of them show any proclivity to wanting to do art as therapy, art as keeping kids off the streets and out of trouble, that sort of thing. Or just
distracting them for a day.
Yeah.
Although this brings up a very important moral question that I'm going to go into for 20 minutes.
Great.
No, I think that's a great idea. It's fun.
Yeah,
I like the idea that it's something Dub can help in. Dub's parents absolutely want to help pay for supplies and things. Dub's parents also help invest in the offer to help invest in the foster care home if Callie's interested. Anytime Callie needs money in the future for that, or something, and also offers to come by and volunteer to read and stuff like that to the kids.
We still have to figure out a family name. We haven't figured out a family name at all.
When they come by,
I don't know.
When they come by to read to the kids, Lark makes sure to be there to sit and listen to them read with as one of the kids.
Yeah, no, I know. Lark always loves listening to stories. All right. I think I know how Ash is going to spend the rest of his life too, at the foster care home instead of the library. That'd be awesome.
Oh no!
That'd be adorable. That's going to be his epilogue, I think.
Why would you wait? That is a house full of children, and you're just putting a sword in it?
Mounted to the wall.
You can't remove it.
That I am teaching any of these kids monk exercises for focus and control. I mean, come on now.
Self-defense. I was also going to say, Ash is the one sword in the world that could actually yell at the kids not to touch itself.
That's true. Don't touch me!
That was an awkward way to put that, but okay.
What do you have?
Ash!
No! What do you have? Ascension sword? No!
Thinker comes around and says, "This is a dagger. You stab here, and it really, really hurts."
We're teaching sword etiquette in this house.
That's
pretty sure it really, really hurts anywhere you get stabbed.
Oh no, but if you hit him right here, you hit a nerve, and that's how you do sneak attack damage.
Oh.
What are you teaching my children?
What he knows?
Nothing.
Crime.
Everything I know.
Everything.
And of course, there are plenty of chickens for them to help raise, and
well, not there at the foster.
No, but they're always welcome to come out and
day trips.
Kelly'd have to go to the council for zoning to be like, can I have domesticated chickens in my property in the Pearl District?
In the Pearl District?
Not Pearl District.
Guildsman District. Gotcha.
He has to live in the Guildsman District.
That might be slightly less strict zoning laws.
Yeah, Callie starts pretty much referring to them all as her kids pretty quick.
All right. Who's next? Inku? What did you have?
He was first.
Mine was Daisy and all that sort of stuff.
I think
Oh, that's right. Is that everyone?
I think that's everyone.
I think that's everyone.
Oh, okay. We went all around. So, all right. So I've thought of a couple others I want to talk about. The goblins have opened a large facility in the Guildsman district on the edge of the city because they're going to be doing some exporting and stuff of some of their equipment. They have started working heavily in larger sort of automation. They have actually opened up negotiations with the Birchfield to start learning about some of their technology, the brass and mechanical processes, the more steampunk style process that they use. They're very excited about that. And so they've started to work on developing better steam engines than the large clunky 2 or 3 that exist on some ships that are huge and gigantic. With the small using a better version of those the little stones that we introduced early on that were used for cooking tea and things. By developing better versions of those through alchemy and things, they're able to create much higher pressure of steam and be able to run much larger equipment with much smaller engines. So they're getting to the point where and they had some really crazy ideas for including some steam powered weapons and things like that. So one of the things what's the third goblin's name?
Tinker?
Tinker, thank
Patsy?
you. Tinker has is this he's got this idea of this strange sort of fist kind of guitar type item, but that when you hit with it, it also pushes out rapidly and hits harder than it would normally. So yeah, they've got a lot of strange little fun ideas. Basically like power fists and things.
Assassin's Goblin.
Do they perfect the paintball gun yet?
Well, they're talking about using steam to power them, so they don't have to be. So they work a little bit better and
hot paint, great hot paint.
So yeah, there's a lot of great ideas. Anybody else you guys are curious about?
How does Ezra react to the Primal Temple?
That's an interesting question.
That's a great question. Ezra over the next month or two becomes a little more reserved and steps away more into nature, goes into things more, steps away from his responsibilities. It actually looks like he's going to be possibly leaving the council once things are a little bit more stable, and they're just kind of looking for a replacement right now. He is not happy with the expanding city, and
can you hear it?
Good.
Oh,
there you go.
Guys.
Hello.
Remember this audience might still be able to hear you during that time. So
yeah, we were just like, oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can hear you. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we weren't saying we were just like, oh no, it's stressing. It all paused.
To remind people. So he looks like he's kind of stepping away more, possibly going to be leaving. All right. Somebody was asking something. I missed it.
Yeah, it was a joke. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I was gonna say that he was a little too tightly wound for this place now. I agree that it's too big. It's
definitely not how he wants to live or what he wants to be doing. But he was willing to step up because the city needed some leadership. So he was willing to do it for a short time. And a few months is about it. But they need somebody to represent the temple district. The only people that live in the temple district are the priests and
Oshin could do it.
Oshin doesn't live in the temple district. Oshin lives in the pearl district.
Callie technically lives in the temple district. She's where her temple is. She does live there half the time. But
you're leaving.
Yeah, but she's leaving.
Anybody else in the city you want to know about? Any places, people, things? Bilgeport is expanding. As the boat lift is becoming more and more traffic in and out every day, the boat lift is becoming, unfortunately, a little more expensive, but also it's backed up. There's not a lot of, unfortunately, enough ability to move it fast enough for people to do what they need to do. So Bilgeport is expanding around the edge of the cliff a little more. They're going to be putting in some new of these large winches that take up the cargo up and down, and they basically, it's expanding into a full district over this month. Well, not quite. I mean, it is a district, but right now it's it's a very small little piece of the docks. About the fifth or sixth of the size of the Pearl District, but it's going to grow into probably half the size of the Pearl District while you guys are gone. Well, during this time and the time you guys are gone. Fingu?
I suppose I'm a little curious about if anything happened specifically with Tira.
So the Greasers Union basically just kind of strengthens their ties with the Forge clerics, because you get the idea, not that she's going to ever say anything, but you get the idea that Tira and Afra did not get along really well. They never really hung out or did things in the same spot.
I think we might have had a bit more insight into that just based on the conversations they'd had about things.
Yes,
but it's not he's not one to pry. So
yeah, and she won't talk about it. But the idea that this new person is in charge, you're starting to get more contracts. Tira's starting to get more contracts with the Builders Union and things for more items. The Divine Foundry for more work for the city and things. So it's actually going extremely well for the Greasers Union. As a matter of fact, almost every business in the city is flourishing because it's in a very big growth thing. So there's a lot of new businesses opening, just because any business can pretty much open and start making money as long as they aren't, asshats. It's just, that's the type of economy that's existing right now.
How is Mo doing?
Asshats is a technical term. Mo is one of those businesses that is flourishing. The district will not allow him to turn his tower into his shop. So he's been looking for other locations, but he says, I work day and night, so it just makes sense to be here. But he has been considering possibly hiring someone to manage an actual location, and then he just does the part that he really he loves talking to people too. So actually, he loves all of it. But he doesn't want to move. He loves his little tower, and it's plenty of space for him, and he's able to put everything up where he needs to. So he doesn't really want to leave there. But they won't the city won't let him turn it into open a business on a residential street. So it's got to stay basically a private, person to person business. But he has plenty of work too.
Pess could volunteer to help run his shop for him.
Okay.
So Pess, knowing with her buddy Mo, would help with that.
Sure, that's a good idea. She's interested in clothes.
She likes leather stuff, so she's a crafter as well. I mean,
that's true.
She's totally fine with, she can
Pess
craft.
invents the zipper.
Damn straight.
But it shocks you instead of snaps you. All right. Yeah.
Pants with a zipper. Pants with a zipper.
Pants, your pants on. Pants.
Anyone else? All right.
Oh, how are Hard Dice doing? Are they doing good?
World Anvil, Die Hard Dice, and NerdSmith.org are all doing amazing. Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Over the next month, they hope to make trillions of dollars and spread that money all throughout the kingdom of the internet and people.
Nice shirt.
That's
that
great.
shirt is amazing.
That's
that's awesome.
There's sushi.
What is that? I didn't even know they had that. It's sushi and forge hammers and a dragon? Ant? Is it an ant?
It's one of their creatures.
I love it.
I love that. That's awesome. We need to get our merchandise up. That's another thing. So yes, so go to worldanvil.com and see all the amazingness there. Then you can go to Die Hard Dice, use that coupon code Countless Heroes for 15% off one order, and then go over to nerdsmith.org and spread the word about us and all the other amazing shows over there. And if you'd like to support us, remember that we appreciate it greatly. You support the network and you also support the Trevor Project, because we don't keep any of the money. We pass that on to the Trevor Project. All right. Great. Because we're going to be ending here pretty soon. So at one point, about 4.5 weeks in, a extremely large vessel shows up in Bilgeport. They do not use the lift.
Oh no! Did Nathan's vessel get bigger? That is really big.
Depends if Mari's in the room.
Might be Captain Hex.
Really, Tess? That's what gets you?
I'm a
That's what gets
13-year-old
Callie.
boy by heart. Come on now. Anything that's a penis joke makes me laugh.
You had me at penis.
That's fair.
Please don't clip that, Fennec.
You put it in the internet.
I think-
You get what you get. You get what you get.
Logan was
Had
doing
me
that.
at penis.
Damn it.
I am very interested in this giant ship, so I want to go check that out.
Hold on a second. You'll actually be contacted before you have a chance to do that. You'll be contacted and have a little bit of a sit down with Bula, who tells you that the ship is the Ocean Rose,
I like the name.
which we thought was very appropriate, and it is the vessel that will be taking you to Lavina Island, along with a crew of 60. And whoever else you're taking with you, because you've got the 16 of you, plus your 2 guides, and then the crew of 60 on top of that. Most of that is just crew for the thing to help set up camps if you need to put up and set down camps as you need on the beaches as you're going around, and they will be taking you to they will be taking you around the coast over to the port that we talked about yesterday that Oshin saw on her cruise, his honeymoon. God damn it, stupid. His honeymoon, and that from there you'll go straight across the sea to Lavina Island, and you will make port. The first port you'll have will be in the main port there. I'm not sure if Heather and Kyle have named that yet. If they have not, I will come up with something. But that there is a settlement, a very small settlement, on the edge of this island, this very savage place, where they have some luxuries. They've got some shops there and things, and a bar, an inn that you can stay at the first night before you start exploring, and it's growing. Evidently, there's been a few other people that have been there, but again, it's probably maybe 100 people total that are there at any one time, and only about 20 people live there. But it's designed to be kind of a jumping point, and they are actually going to be sending over to make sure that everything is okay. They'll be popping by there with teleport to make sure that that things are okay there for you until you're done. After that, once you're there, no, I apologize. I forgot. Teleport does not work on the island. I completely forgot that off my top of my head. Once you're there, you're on your own. There's no teleport. You can call for help and we can send it as quickly as we can, but there is no teleporting in and out of the place. And even minor teleportation like spells may be affected with Fey magic. Understand there's a lot of Fey magic throughout all of the the island, much like there used to be Shadowfell magic here in Cinderhaven.
Great. Wonderful. We're excited. I'll make sure the rest of the group is ready to go. When does the ship leave?
Well, at this point, it would probably be 2 weeks, right before Lark's children are born. And he will then, and I will be doing this outside, but he will be talking about your 2 objectives on the island, besides general information and things, and gathering the list of items. They have some items they specifically need from the island that are very rare. But in addition to that, they have one artifact that they have heard exists on this island in a particular place in the center of the island near this very large volcano that exists in the center of the island. And this particular artifact in this particular place, they believe maybe an ancient civilization where they can hold the key to allowing teleportation and other transportation to this place. If they can set up if they can have somebody stay there and set up a permanent teleportation circle, they could dominate, the entire economy of surrounding everything that exists on the island, which is they're a business, so that's part of what they're thinking about. But also, in addition, it's the study, it's the shamans, it's everything. There's just a lot of knowledge to be gained there as well. So, with those 2 things in mind, your goal is to hopefully find a way to set up some way that it's much easier than sending us a ship to go back and forth to get to this island.
Excellent.
That's why when I said about the teleportation thing, that was a complete flake. That's the whole point was this. So that's that.
Excellent. I'll let them know.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns about what we're at? Primark?
No, I just wanted to say happy birthday, Heather. Just wanted to say that.
Happy birthday,
Yes, happy
Heather.
birthday, Heather.
Happy birthday, Heather. Sucks you're at work.
So immediately after she learns that the ship is leaving in 2 weeks, Din has been staying with Primehart and Callie still, so she runs back to the house, grabs Din, and says, "Ready to go home in 2 weeks?"
Which of course he's very, very excited about. He looks very ready. He has really enjoyed being open and being able to talk about these things regularly, and he's very excited about the prospect of going home and having spent the last 4 weeks helping and teaching people the Ferosh language and and being able to speak it again now that he's not kind of bound by this idea that he was Zeknar Fettles and not having to speak it. So talking to very often him and Pip get into it and just start jabbering on in Ferosh. And now some other people will know it too. Alrighty. Well, I think that's it. That is for 6 weeks. 6 weeks will have passed. Die Hard Dice is awesome. Please go to dieharddice.com. Go to worldanvil.com. Check everyone out. We're going to go ahead and do a raid here. Let me find someone.
And be sure to check out Plot Hunters at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific tonight. The ladies of Plot Hunters will be streaming. Since we didn't overlap their stream this time, I figured
we'll be
it'd be
hosting
weird.
them though.
Yep.
Shenanigans 134. What?
Whiskey is pawing me. I think he wants food.
Well, we will feed our dog then.
Yeah, my cat is pawing me too for probably the same reason.
What is this? Let's see here.
And maybe drop the amount of backlight you have.
Geek Space TV. This looks amazing. We're gonna go say hi to Geek Space TV.
Let's do that thing.
I wish it was easier to raid people.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Sorry it's a little bit shorter of a session, but well, I knew we weren't gonna have a lot to go over here, and I thought more people would get me more stuff to talk about, but we didn't, and that's okay. So we will go over and raid Geek Space TV. Let's go say hi to them, and we will talk to you guys very soon. All right, bye bye.